Hello, USA football fans, soccer fans, and Euro Championship fans. Bobby Cardenas coming at you from Lancaster, California. Sunday, July 10th, the final of the European Championship will take place in about 40 minutes is the kickoff. It's 11:20 right now. The pregame will start at 11:30. And of course, unless you've been hiding under a rock and you are not a football fan, you would know that the final consists of Portugal and the host nation France. France is favored, rightfully so. But Portugal have Cristiano Ronaldo, Nani, a new up-and-coming star that could give France a run for their money. So who knows? Anything is possible. So after the game, I'll post my comments about the game. Hopefully there's a few points of refereeing that I might be able to comment on. And in fact, I want to talk about just one thing briefly from an article that I read on Fox Soccer by a gentleman named Ryan Rosenblatt. And it pertains to Law 12, the section of it that deals with handling. Because as you know, in the Germany-France semifinal, there was, I thought I paused this. What's going on here? In the France-Germany final, there was a handling call against Bastian Schweinsteiger late in the first half, which earned a PK for France, taken by Antoine Griezmann. And what is going on here? This is supposed to pause, and it's not. Oh, there we go. And earned Antoine Griezmann converted it. Anyway. The play happened this way. A ball came crossed into the area for another France player. I think it was Pogba, I'm not sure. And as he's about to head it, Schweinsteiger is just off of his shoulder. Let's say I'm the France player. Schweinsteiger's right here. And he does this. He goes up to head it, but he does this with his hand. Puts his hand towards the path of the ball. The ball comes off the French player, hits Schweinsteiger's hand, and the referee calls a penalty. After some talking back and forth with his assistants, because it took a second or two to call it. They discussed it. It was the right call. But according to Ryan Rosenblatt, it wasn't. And he doesn't understand the law and wants FIFA to do something about it, fully explain it, or maybe even do away with it. And as he calls it, it's a rule. Well, they're not rules, they're laws. Okay. So it's basically impossible. What is the right call, he says. It's basically impossible to answer, and that's not just a way to let the referee off the hook, because it was a close call that happened really quickly and took multiple replays to decipher what actually happened. Well, we had the benefit of multiple replays. They don't. They will, because they're going to start. Who's there? Dad. Yes. Do you have the legion? They do. I meant right here on the side. They do. Oh. Like, sorry about that. Something happened right now. Anyway. So it's a statement on the still incomprehensible handball rules. Handling the ball involves a deliberate act of a player making contact with the ball with his hand or arm. The referee must take the following into consideration. This is what the law states. That's what I'm telling you right now. The movement of the hand towards the ball, not the ball towards the hand. The position of the hand does not necessarily mean that there is an infringement. And touching the ball with an object held in the hand, like clothing, the shin guard, etc., of course, is an infringement of the law. So this is what he says. So it starts with a deliberate act. How many handballs are actually a deliberate act? Close to none. No, sir. Most of them are deliberate acts. In fact, all of them should be if they're called. Sometimes referees make mistakes and call handling where it shouldn't be called. But most of them are correctly called. You just don't seem to understand it. So the very first thing from the rules, okay, about handballs can either be discarded or the referees must almost always call it wrong. This is a good start. As for the rest of it, excluding the points about holding or throwing an object, there's hand movement, distance, and then a qualifier that sometimes you throw things out based on position of hand without actually explaining what hand positions matter and don't. In conclusion, the handball rule is still awful and leaves everything open to a bunch of interpretation without any definitive answer. That's not great for a rule that is central to the sport and completely changes matches like a Euro semifinal. Everything that happens in the game that players do affect the game, affect the outcome. The referees are there to officiate the matches, not to decipher whether what they do and what they're going to call is going to change or impact the game, because that should not ever go into their minds. The players control the matches, and if there is a handling to be called, it doesn't matter whether it's a semifinal, a final, a club game, a high school game, a friendly. You call it. Aye. Okay, so the end. As for Schweinsteiger's handball, it wasn't deliberate. He moves his hand towards the ball. These are his words. So if it wasn't deliberate, why do you say he moved his hand towards the ball? Because he did move it towards the ball, and it was deliberate. Towards the ball. The distance between the hand and the ball was about 3 inches, so it was definitely an unexpected ball. And the position of the hand, well, we're still unclear of what that means. He's referring to this. There's another section of the law that says the distance between the opponent and the ball, unexpected ball, has to be taken into account as to whether handling has occurred. What that means is if there is a ball, you're playing, your hands are down, let's say here, or even your hands are up because you're just in your natural movement, you're doing this, and the ball suddenly is kicked and pops up and hits your hand. That's an unexpected ball. That's nothing's happened there. In fact, if the ball were to pop up and you do a defensive move to protect your face, that's an unexpected ball, and you've done nothing improperly. Improper? This is an English class right now. Okay, so he says, to say it's long past time to sort out the handball rule, and of course it's not friggin' handball, it's handling, so people actually know what a handball is, would be exceedingly kind. You know what would be exceedingly kind? Is for you commentators who don't know what the hell you're talking about, not to confuse the viewers about a point of law of this beautiful game. What you should do is seek out someone who knows how to explain it to you. Knows the laws of the game because of my refereeing background, my commentary background, my playing background, my managerial background, my administrative background, all of these points. I view these games from a perspective of a fan, but also one that understands what's going on with the laws of the game. If you don't blame it on FIFA. It's clearly spelled out. The acts of handling must be deliberate. Now, there are different ways to be deliberate. You actually bring the hand towards the ball and to smack it out of the way, or to try to save it from going into the goal like Suarez did in the 2010 World Cup against Ghana, and he got a red card for it. Or you put your hand in a position where it may contact the ball, as in what Yedlin did during the Copa America when he turned his back as a kick was coming, and he conveniently did this, and the ball struck his hand. Or a player from Bolivia, as the ball was coming in, who had his hand initially behind his back so it wouldn't, at the last second does this, and the ball struck his arm. Those are deliberate handling positions. That's it, I gotta go, because I gotta get ready for the game. I'm so excited. Okay, so, enough to racism. And I'm sorry this went on long, that little interruption was my daughter. Go USA! And the ladies won yesterday. I'll come back later. Bye.